So as if you're watching this live, which I really can't tell, if you're watching this live, you'll notice the stream has crashed a couple times. That's I haven't had this bad of time with streaming. Usually it goes a lot better than this, but a crash does happen from time, from time to time. That's just what it is. Okay, so I wanted to point. I'm not going to go too crazy with my stuff here because apparently when I switch from app to app, there's a lot of issues. So I will. The only thing I will point out to you in the live stream link there, I'm sorry, in the live stream in the chat, I have linked my Discord at the bottom of that live stream. There's also a link to Discord. Also on my website, there's a link to Discord. Discord's a really good resource for you. It has information regarding when live streams are going to be. So for example, I have when your lives in the announcement section. There's a whole thing about what the live stream schedule will be for next week. So again, if you want to be part of that live stream and ask questions at that time, then that would be what you want to see. So you know exactly when those are happening, what I'm covering, and what kind of like what I'm assigning over that time. Okay, so aside from that, let's get going on today's stuff. Also, I want to kind of emphasize, and again, um, this is just for your information. There's about like it seems like to be about a 5 to 10 second delay between what I'm saying and what I'm doing on my side and what you're seeing. So what will end up happening is once I get more people in the live stream, once I have more people here, I'll start pausing a bit to kind of let what's going on your side catch up to mine. So I'll say, hey, are there any questions? And then I'll wait for like 5 to 10 seconds just to let you guys, the stream catch up. So that being said, we're going to be covering today, I'm just going to be covering, I think I said 18.1 and 18.2 from the review sheet. I'm just going to be going through some problems out there. So before we do, as always, let's just kind of quickly, just because it's been a week and it's been a kind of crazy week, let's just kind of quickly go through and review our trig stuff. So that's kind of the big thing for today. So we're just going to kind of go through and review some trig. And I want to remind you, we have this in our notes over and over and over and over again. So, let's talk about our basic angles. So we have sine theta, cosine theta, tangent theta, cosecant theta, secant theta, and cotangent theta. And so if this is our triangle right here, our right triangle, and we are looking at this acute angle, right? And we were to label this y, x, r, then sine theta would be y over r. Cosine theta would be, so let me just repeat. Sine theta is opposite over hypotenuse, which is y over r. Cosine theta is adjacent over hypotenuse, which is x over r. Tangent of theta is opposite over adjacent, which is y over x. Cosecant theta is the inverse of sine theta. So in other words, the reciprocal of sine theta. So we flip it. So we get r over y. Secant, reciprocal of cosine theta, r over x. And cotangent is the reciprocal of tangent. Okay, so those are our 6 trigonometric functions as a reminder. So let's go to the worksheet here. And I'm just going to go through some of the problems. I'm not going to go through them all, but just to kind of make sure that we are comfortable with some of them. So let's go through problem number 1. Number 1, it says asks us to identify the relationships. And what they're trying to emphasize here is that the sides of the triangle, as long as the angle that we are looking at. So if this is the angle that we are, let's blow this up a bit. If this is the angle right here that we're looking at, it doesn't matter whether we're talking about triangle XYZ or XVZ. The 6 trigonometric functions that we have, they're going to all be the same. Okay, they're all going to be the same. So in this case, looking at the first one, they're saying, okay, tangent of x. Tangent of x, well, we know tangent of x is equal to opposite over adjacent. So in this case, they kind of did it a little bit differently. They're looking at the big triangle, so let's look at the big triangle. They said, since we're looking at the big triangle, it's going to be opposite over adjacent. So that's going to be VW over WX. Now, notice the second one says, what's equal to that? Well, now we're going to look at the smaller triangle, and we're going to say, well, that's also equal to YZ, opposite, over adjacent, which is XZ. Okay? Notice we can do similar things for number 2. So let's move on to number 3. Looking at number 3, let's think about what they're doing. It looks weird, but it's really not too bad. So they're saying the arctangent of this ratio, of this divided by this, equals what? We've done this before, even if it looks a little bit different. So for example, in class, if this was 4 and this was 7, what this would really be saying is the arctangent of 4 over 7. And think about what that gives us. That's actually giving us that will give us the measure of our angle. And the way we know that is we can say tangent of theta equals 4 over 7. So the arctangent, this thing right here, is going to be theta. It's going to give us the measure of theta. Okay? That's kind of its job. Okay, let's see. Let's keep on going. So for number 5, what do we have here? We have the tangent of x. Okay, well, what is the tangent of x? We've already actually done that, right? So I can say the tangent of x is this times the tangent of v, which we haven't done the tangent of v yet. So we're going to be taking these two things and multiplying together. So let's do that. I know I'm kind of doing number 2 for you, but I guess it is what it is, right? So the tangent of x, we already know, is VW over WX. Let's do the tangent of v. So the tangent of v is going to be opposite over adjacent. So it's going to be, times WX times VW. Notice what happens. Cancel, 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 cancel. The whole thing is 1. Okay? Let's keep on going here. So, looking at, I'm only going to do a couple from this one. So looking at the tangent of 23, this is a calculator question. You're literally just going to plug that into your calculator. So I'm going to do it really quickly just so you can check yours versus mine. Make sure, of course, that you're using your calculator correctly. But I assume at this point you guys are probably pretty good with that. We're just going to plug that in, and I'm getting, this is about, what do they say, to the nearest 10th? So 0.4. That's what it equals. Maybe I round tangents to the nearest 100th and angles to the nearest 10th. So this was 0.42. Okay? Now, that's number 7, and 8 and 9 are going to be very similar. So again, of course, if you have any questions or something like that, please, you can feel free to message me in Discord. Looking at this next one, they're asking for the arctangent. So they're saying the arctangent of this equals what? This is also a calculator question. Reminder, you're going to have to use this button, which is just the second function, right? And that. So if you wanna kind of check to make sure that you are doing it right, let's see what we get. I get plugging this in. Whoops, I hit the wrong button. Tangent. What did I say? What is it? 0.14 is I get. They told us to go to the nearest 10th degree, so 7.96. So really, it's about 8 degrees, 8.0 degrees. Okay. Then the last question, number 10. The last question they're asking on number 10 is tangent of what angle? So what degree tangent equals 0.4? So in other words, I'm going to say tangent of what? So I'm going to say theta is approximately 0.14. And I have to find it. So remember, what do we do in order to do that? We say, well, that's going to be equal to the inverse tangent of 0.14. And again, they kind of did that here for us. That's where we're kind of getting our answer for, but that's the relationship between those that we've talked about. So in this case, it's going to be equal to about 8 degrees. Okay? Let's see here. I don't think there's much to say 13 through 16. These are types of things we've done in class. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say try them on your own. And of course, if questions come up for you or concerns, then during Monday's stream at 2 p.m., that would be a time to kind of go over those and ask questions. Okay, so again, hopefully we're good on this. If not, Monday would be a great time to ask questions regarding that. So let's move on to the next one. Honestly, there isn't a lot new for the next one. This is just kind of exploring sines. So these are, in a lot of ways, they're a lot easier than the things that we have done. But let's just do a couple of these. So the sine of angle 1, sine of angle 1. So sine, right? Sine is going to be equal to sine of theta, as we know, is equal to opposite over hypotenuse. And then cosine, where can I put that? Cosine, I'll put it right here and just erase. Cosine of theta equals adjacent over hypotenuse. So let's start with the sine of theta. So sine, I'm taking the side of this angle, so I'm looking at the opposite over the hypotenuse. So it is 5.2 over 6, which we should simplify. And we get, we get approximately, we'll say 0. What do they say? Give ratios to the nearest 100. So 0.87. Okay? That's kind of the idea for all of those. Again, there isn't a lot to say there. This is easier stuff than we have done before. Okay? Let's move on to number 6. Show how to find the measure of angle 1 using the inverse sine. So we've done this. In fact, we just did this with tangent, but I'll remind you. So I can say the sine of theta equals, well, actually, let's use theirs since they said angle 1. So the sine of angle 1, well, what does that equal? That equals opposite over hypotenuse, which means, and again, we already got that value here, so I could use that number. I'm just gonna, sure, you know what? Let's switch it up. Let's use that since I already did the work. It equals this. But, so if I want to go find the measure of angle 1, then I'm going to take the arc sine. So then what I'm going to do, this symbol right here means then I'm going to go take the arc sine of that number that we found. And that's going to give me the measure of the angle. Okay? So in this case, let's go and do that. I'm going to get, where's my clear button? What did I say? The arc sine. This is not a calculator I'm used to. Where's the sine button? Okay, arc sine 0.87 gives me, so this comes out to be approximately 60.8 we'll say 5 degrees. Okay? Again, we can do the exact same work for number 7. So let's keep on going here. In regards to this, again, this is another one that we should be pretty comfortable with. There isn't really a lot to say here. So with that being said, I'm going to have you guys, again, if you have questions on this, feel free to ask. But otherwise, I think I'm going to go check to see what the next one is. But otherwise, I think I may be stopping here. Let me double check. These are our special ones. You know what? These are pretty important. So I'm going to hit the 18.3 stuff today. I don't remember if I had that scheduled or not, but this has been a pretty short one. So I can hit the 18.3 here. So let's do that. These are just special triangles. These are all, remember, special triangles, these are all ones where they're all perfect Pythagorean identities. In other words, they all produce perfect numbers, whole numbers. So for the sign of L, there isn't a lot to say, actually. Actually, you know what? I was going to go over this, but I don't think there's a huge reason to go over this. So again, if you have questions on this on Monday, please ask. But otherwise, I mean, I don't mind going over answers, but I'd rather you guys work through it completely first because I don't think there's much for me to say here. But of course, if you have questions, please feel free to ask them in Discord. Please feel free on Monday's stream to ask them. But like I said, I don't think there's really a lot to say here. So when you get a chance to watch this, I thank you for watching it, and I will hopefully see some of you on Monday.